What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is another video in the how-to series. Now we are talking about Werewolf by Night. I love this champion so much. He was actually one of my first rank 3 7-stars, and I absolutely guarantee that down the line, probably my next 1 or 2 rank 4s, Werewolf will be in that conversation and probably be one of the characters I end up taking up. This guy is incredibly consistent on offense. You can play him in a super unique way. You can either do full combos or you can play in sort of a limited hit, only hit block style, kind of like you would play Valkyrie. So let's just get right into it. So I'm going to fight, let's just do, I don't know, a basic attacker first, someone who's not super duper complicated, so I can show off how Werewolf works. So he has this howling mechanic, which is an idle mechanic that you're going to notice. Now, with Werewolf's Howl, you build up these lycanthropy charges. Now, during the full moon, you start with 3 of them. So as when you're using Werewolf on offense in the full moon, you're going to start with 3 of them. That just exponentially speeds up your ramp. But you can absolutely use Werewolf super duper 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 effectively without needing to be in the full moon. You don't have to rely on the full moon to then use Werewolf. When you cross a bar of power, you gain these lycanthropy charges. You also gain them when you will howl. So I'm going to show that off right now. When you cross a bar of power and when you howl, you gain these lycanthropy charges. So I'm going to start off with the block-only playstyle for Werewolf. We're going to fight Galan here, and you're going to see that Werewolf deals very consistent Rupture damage. Now, something to note is that when Werewolf is dealing the Rupture damage, that is a flat number. So that's not going to be reduced by any sort of means aside from, protection. That's a flat number that can't be modified by Werewolf's attack, so you're just dealing that number consistently. You're, of course, dealing them through block, and as you can see, I started the fight with 3 charges because I'm in the full moon, but when I howled and I had a Rupture, it gave me 2. You don't want to howl if you don't have at least 1 Rupture on the opponent. So now I'm going to howl again. That gives me 7. I cross a bar of power. That pushes me to 9. I have not hit Galan 1 time directly, except for right now. Now I intercepted him, and he's just going for intercept now because he's having a grand old time. But I'm hitting Galan's block. I'm dealing consistent Rupture damage. And now I howl. I go in for my full combo. And on a light attack, my mediums and my last light attack hit all inflict Rupture. Massive Rupture damage. And Galan is dead. I don't even have to bait a single special attack. He is just a goner. So absolutely no damage taken. I only hit Galan once I was ready to throw my special 2, and I could absolutely finish that entire fight without hitting Galan outside of throwing my special 2. I just need to make sure I have enough power from my howl to push myself to a special 2 so that I can just dodge one of Galan's attacks and throw it. The howl gives you power gain, so you want to be sure that you're controlling the power that you have and having good power management. But Werewolf is just ridiculous. The ways you can play him, the amount of matchups that he can take and consistently deal with is fantastic. Additionally, like I mentioned, the damage that he deals on those Ruptures is not going to be modified by any sort of attack rating reduction because it's a flat number. So if you're fighting an opponent with inequity, the Rupture damage itself is not going to go down because it is a flat number. Let me show you in the kit right now. Medium attack 1 and light 4 inflict a Rupture, dealing 6,000 physical damage over 15 seconds, scaling with base attack only. So no modified attack can augment this, and you're going to be dealing this consistently, even if there's inequity on the opponent. The only thing that will reduce it is physical resistance, any sort of protection, and any damage mitigation. But like a weakness or inequity, you're going to be totally fine to use Werewolf. So one of the best matchups for Werewolf is actually one of the best matchups for Werewolf is actually Photon, because you can just hit Photon's block and throw your special 2 and never really have to worry about triggering pure light form in short form content specifically. So I'm going to do 1 hit into block and then throw my and then howl. What that's going to do is that's going to give me my additional charge. And now I'm just doing my medium combos into block. I'm not doing medium light. I'm not doing full combos into block. I am just doing medium combos into block because those are the hits that will apply the Rupture. The only other basic hit that applies Rupture is Werewolf's 4th light attack, but I'm not going to do a 4th light attack into block. That would be very silly. So I'm going to just do a couple more hits into block here. I've already taken off over 30% of her health by just hitting her normally. I now throw my special 2, and Photon is still not in pure light form, so I can go for basic combos now. Once I'm in the Curse of Lycanthropy, the potency of my Ruptures gets a 70% bonus. So now I can just do this, and watch. I'm just going to hit her block now, and she's going to die from just her block being struck by a werewolf. I can wait out the Rupture damage, and as you can see, Photon is just going to tick away from those Ruptures, and there you go. Again, no damage taken, a little bit slower because you are dealing with your reduced attack rating from class disadvantage, but the Rupture damage itself is not going to have any reduced attack rating. That was very safe. She never went into pure light form. Yeah, I could have baited a special attack and pushed her into pure light form, or like hit her or done a light attack and forced her into it and sort of waited it out by just hitting her block, but regardless, Werewolf, super safe for Photon. Very, very solid option for that fight in particular. Let's go show off another fight in the Cosmic class where Werewolf is very good. Let's go fight Yelena, I'm sorry, Cosmic. Skill. Let's go fight Yelena, and then let's also go fight Dark Phoenix after we fight Yelena. So Werewolf is very good for like short and medium form content. You can use him in longer form content, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend him for like Everest stuff. Short, medium form content that you're doing on sort of a monthly basis is where you're going to find the most use for Werewolf by Night. So Yelena, the name of the game is absolutely the same. You're going to just hit her block and not like intercept her when you can avoid it. As you can see, the Rupture damage is the same regardless of the class, you know, regardless of anything. The only thing that can reduce it is physical resistance, and like I said, any sort of damage mitigation outside of like a weakness or a the Inequity Mastery. Just hitting her block here. She's going to build up that combo, but it's going to be very slow, comparatively speaking. Doing my my dashbacks here, throwing a light attack if I wanted to force a block, so that I can just constantly go in for my hits, building up those Ruptures. We've already taken off 25% of her health without even hitting her one time normally. Now I'm going to go in for a full combo, throw my special 2, going for a full combo again. Those Ruptures are ticking her down. I'm not going to dash in because I have a double medium. Now I can just hit her block again. I'm going to go for a full combo into a special 1. Every hit of Werewolf special 1 inflicts a Rupture. And there you go. Yelena Belova absolutely annihilated. 1 minute, 10 seconds there. It's not going to be super duper fast because you are playing in sort of a sort of particular way in matchups where you're doing the hit block only. But it's so safe. So incredibly safe. So let's go fight Dark Phoenix, and then let's do a couple more fights where I don't necessarily need to go for just the hits on block because I can just hit the opponent normally. So we'll show off the Dark Phoenix matchup, and then we'll show off some other great matchups for Werewolf. So Dark Phoenix, go in here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit her block, throw my special 2. Werewolf does have to deal with the regeneration from the immortality at the end of the fight, but regardless, even though there is a damage reduction from Dark Phoenix, the Ruptures are still going to deal solid damage, and the burst from Werewolf is going to be very nice. Additionally, the regen he gets from the Curse of Lycanthropy is very solid for keeping himself topped up. Against Dark Phoenix as well, there is a burst damage bonus because she has that safeguard buff. Going to go in for my special 2. Going for another special 2 here. Now we have that immortality to deal with. No big deal. I'm going to throw a special 1 if I can. But doesn't matter. Werewolf gets that fight down fairly well. Again, you're going to have some chip damage from the Nova Flame, but Werewolf does work to get Dark Phoenix down. So if you need to use him in a pinch, you absolutely can. So let me show off another matchup here where you can just kind of go ballistic with Werewolf and not worry about like going for just the block-only combos. Let's go fight Hulkling. Let's go fight Hulkling and just going for our full combos here and just have an absolute blast. I believe Werewolf also nullifies Regeneration on his special one. Let me confirm that right now before going into this matchup. I believe his special one, the first 2 hits that make contact have a 200% chance to nullify 1 Regeneration and 1 Precision buff. So Hulkling's regen will get nullified if I end up throwing a special one in this matchup. Going to go in for my full combos here. Landing a light backdraft intercept can sometimes trigger the Howl, so just be aware of that if you want to ramp up Werewolf in that way. I'm going to nullify Hulkling's regen. Hulkling's going to trigger his Indestructible. I'm going to go for a little intercept. Lots of buffs on Hulkling. Throw my special 2 here. Going for a little stand-up because I'm unblockable and unstoppable. And yeah, that's all she wrote for Werewolf. Just nuts. 30 seconds for that fight. In a matchup where you don't have to worry about playing in a particular way and like hitting block only, Werewolf goes very, very fast, especially with the full moon. But even without it, you're dealing a lot of damage on your ruptures, your basic hits as well. And I even threw a special 1 in that matchup, which kind of takes up a little bit of time, and it was still 30 seconds only. So Werewolf is just so, so good. He's such an incredible story quester as well. Something else I want to show off with Werewolf is part of the signature ability, but also just part of the base kit, Werewolf's Regeneration. So I'm going to go into, let's go to another Cosmic matchup. I'm going to intentionally quit out and start the fight with 20% health. So I'm going to go, let's just fight, I don't know, let's go fight Venom Pool, Red Goblin, doesn't matter. I want to show off the power of Werewolf's Regeneration. So I'm going to intentionally quit out of this fight and show you how strong Werewolf's regen can be. So the signature ability allows Werewolf to increase the potency of his regeneration for every unique buff on the opponent. Up to 8 buffs, and the potency is increased by 6% right now. I believe it goes up to 8% per. So you're looking at almost a 40-50% increase of, no, not even. If it's 8 times 8, that's 64. So right now you're looking at like a 42% increase of the potency of the regen. But another thing great about Werewolf is when he enters the Curse of Lycanthropy, he gains this regeneration. And when he gains this regen, he heals 0.65% of his missing health every 0.5 seconds. That does not go up or down. So if you're at low health, you can start a fight with Werewolf at 20% health. Build up to the Curse of Lycanthropy, and look how powerful the regen is going to be. Especially if you're in a matchup that has a lot of buffs on the opponent. You're going to be healing so much per tick of that regen. It's kind of crazy. So I'm going to let Venompool duplicate his buffs here, because I'm going to Howl and get my regen going. But look at that. 761 per tick. And now I can just pause, go back. Look at this. When I stay far away from Venompool, the regen just heals me up. Look at that. 761 per tick. Going for a full combo here. Full combo into block. And I healed 25% of my health in that matchup alone. Now, Venompool is being a bit aggressive as well, but regardless, I healed, almost 30% of my health there from just that one regen, and you can trigger that again and again and again. So now, with the amount of health that I had, it's 600 per tick, so 1200 per second. That is strong regeneration. Makes him super, super sustainable. And in a matchup where you're losing health, you're going to have so much regen here. I'm just going to let the Ruptures tick him away. I started this fight with 20% health, and I ended it with 65%. I healed 40% of my base health in that fight, and I could have kept going. I could have gone to 100. If it was a longer fight, I could have been hitting Venom Pool more and keeping the regeneration paused, because when I'm hitting the opponent, I'm pausing the Curse of Lycanthropy. Werewolf is to put it simply, he's just a jack of all trades. No pun intended, because I think his name is Jack. The last fight I'll show off here with Werewolf is Maestro. So one great thing about Werewolf that is often overlooked is that when he is in the Curse of Lycanthropy, he has increased ability accuracy at like a flat rate. So it gets around certain ability accuracy reduction, such as Maestro's Glancing. So I'm going to throw a heavy attack here, going for a medium combo, do my light backdraft to get the Howl. And now I'm just building up to my special 2 normally. I need to make sure that I am going to Howl at some point prior to throwing the special 2. We can bait Maestro's special 2 here. I go in for my combo, and look at that. I'm still placing my Ruptures on my basic hits. I throw my special 2. The special can't glance. I land my stand-up because I'm unstoppable and unblockable. And now we're just going to pretty much watch Maestro drop. Regen is healing up some chip damage. And now I can just go in for a full combo into a special 1. And that is all she wrote for Maestro. Maestro is still a super tough defender, and it can be incredibly stalling. But Werewolf handles that fight in 44 seconds. No problem at all. So that is going to do it for the how to effectively use Werewolf by Night video. Thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun making this video. I love Werewolf so much, so I'm very excited for people to get out there and start using him. Before I end the video, I want to mention that the best relic for Werewolf, or at least the best one in my opinion, is the Ghost Rider relic. That increases the potency of your power gain, and that itself is so critical for Werewolf, because the more power you get, the quicker you can build up to that special 2. And does Werewolf need to be awakened? No, not at all. Does not need to be awakened for any of his damage, but he does get a lot more sustainability from the awakened ability when you're triggering that regeneration from the Curse of Lycanthropy. So if you need that sustainability, awaken him, but he does not need to be awakened. And in terms of stat focus, I like running special damage. I also think that block penetration or armor penetration would be great, because you are doing a lot of hits into block in certain matchups, but special damage feels nice because your big damage comes from that special 2. So, thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.